All right, it's almost game time for Bitcoin, and there's a lot of crybabies out there, so I wanted to take this video and go over everything that is lining up right now for Bitcoin. And so there's a lot of people being completely distracted by crybabies, and I understand that crybabies are a part of bull markets and bear markets and life in general. There are a lot of crybabies out there. I will no longer call them bears, I will call them crybabies. If you are bearish on an asset that is absolutely scarce, there's only 21 million, and you are a bear, you're no longer a bear. We have to call you a crybaby. We tried the $1,000 net worthers, we tried the doom and gloom boomers. You're just a crybaby. You don't understand actually what's happening. You don't appreciate cycles. You want things to go up in a straight line. You are a crybaby. It's as simple as that. Nothing else fits the description of what you are other than crybaby. You are a crybaby, crybaby, crybaby. Because we are about to enter game time for this asset. As everyone knows, Q4 of this year. By the way, these people have been crying. These crybabies have been crying in the most predictable, low volume, low volatility month, or months rather, quarter. It's so predictable, in fact, that Wall Street has a saying called sell in May and go away. Now, they've been wrong on the equity side because even a little bit of capital has been deployed, has been very, very powerful for that market. But we're about to enter a period of so many bullish tailwinds, or rather headwinds turning into tailwinds. And I think it's very, very important to realize that I hope you've had a good summer, but it's about to get real, and it's important to focus on what's going on right now. So I'm back. I've had a great summer. You know, it's been busy. It's been kind of one of those summers where I had to just kind of lock in and just get focused. I couldn't really do the fun things that I wanted to do. So, look, Q4 2025 is game time. Number one, we got the US government. There's a couple things that I'm not happy with, by the way, too, and I'm going to discuss those in this video. And that's why I want you to subscribe to this channel, because right now, the problem that I'm seeing is that it's very easy. Everyone's kind of emotional, right? Everyone's kind of emotional. It's very, very easy to get swayed by people that have fractions of your net worth, that are basically anonymous personalities on the internet, that have not been in financial markets for a long time, don't appreciate cycles. They don't appreciate these things. And unfortunately, the entire Bitcoin community is not just one community, because it, just like anything else, it brings and attracts people that are wealthy, people that are poor. And so you want to find yourself getting closer to people that are wealthy, closer to people that have had, experience in financial markets, in different assets, in different arenas, because otherwise you will be influenced by people who have not. And those people are crybabies. That's what we're going to call them from now on. That's how you address the crybabies, by calling them crybabies. It is very, very simple. They're emotional. They're very, very, how do you put it? They're very, very sensitive to things that are going on. The real money understands that things move in cycles. Over the May to September sort of time period, schools are off, everyone's on a yacht somewhere in the world. All the real money's on a yacht somewhere in the world, and there's no volume and liquidity. Therefore, you really shouldn't be expecting much to happen during these months. So, what are some of the things that have been very, very bullish over this time period that really no one's paying attention to? Number one, I think, is the U.S. government. The U.S. government has continued to double down, triple down on Bitcoin and on this whole world of Bitcoin and what it brings for the US. Over and over and over again, we've seen further confirmation that the US is absolutely bullish on Bitcoin, and the US is going to be the place in the world. Just now, we had the Bitcoin Conference Asia going on, and we had Eric Trump talking about how the US is leading the way on this, et cetera, et cetera. This hasn't changed, right? It hasn't changed. What the crybabies don't realize is that The problem is that we all want this, but the crybabies want it even more, and they want the U.S. government to follow down the path of education in Bitcoin at the same speed that they did on YouTube, sitting at home on a sofa. And it doesn't work like that. We've got great people doing great work. The Bitcoin Policy Institute guys are doing amazing work. The whole of the US government is moving towards a Bitcoin environment for the US. And this is really good for the world. It's going to take a little bit longer than the average moron sitting on their sofa or the average individual investor trying to learn about what it is, because you can just spend I can just spend 24 hours on YouTube and go through all that research. At the government, you've got to align all parts of government behind you. And the good news is that we have basically the C-suite of the US government very, very pro-Bitcoin. And then following, the next thing that's bullish is the C-suite of Wall Street is now bullish on Bitcoin. JP Morgan was just out, they put an investor note out basically saying that they believe that Bitcoin is undervalued against gold. This is a huge deal for JP Morgan to put that out there, considering they're really the slowest horse in this Bitcoin race. BlackRock is still bullish on Bitcoin. Vanguard is still bullish on Bitcoin through MSTR, but they're bullish on Bitcoin. So, Fidelity is still bullish on Bitcoin. Charles Schwab is coming online. All these things take time, and they're now about to start paying dividends as we enter the final quarter of this year. Why? Because we got a liquidity cycle coming. We have a liquidity cycle coming. We have seen that Jerome Powell has basically set and laid the groundwork that despite any inflation, Goldman Sachs gave him that, by the way, because they said, I think it was about 30% of the last PPI was caused by tariffs, and therefore it would be a one-off thing. So Goldman Sachs laid that up for him. He took the ball, he put it through the net, and he's took the ball, he's taken the shot. We'll see if it goes through the net. And they lower interest rates. I personally don't really want interest rates to be lowered, right? I don't think there is a valid reason yet for the Fed to turn in and lower interest rates drastically. I don't think the 2-year is showing that the market really wants it. I don't think it's a good thing for the rates really to go down at this point. I don't think they're going to do anything. If you've refinanced your house at 0.5% or 1%, what are you going to do with 4%, 3.5% to 4% rates? It's not going to inspire any of that. So what is it really going to do? And by the way, I want the pressure to increase liquidity to be on the president and the Treasury Secretary. And the reason why I want that is they'll overdo it. The Federal Reserve really doesn't overdo things unless there's like a drastic emergency like the vid or the worldwide flu season. I don't even know if it's safe to say the word on YouTube right now, so I'm not even going to do it. The message of Bitcoin is more important to me than being able to say a certain word. I don't care. I want to get the message of Bitcoin out there. And that's why I want you to subscribe to the channel, because the faster you subscribe, the faster the algorithm works to make sure other people see this message and they don't get swayed by the crybabies, right? Because that's what's going on here. I don't think you understand like how many people have completely fucked their future wealth up by listening to crybabies over this low volatility and low volume season. Here's what's happened, by the way, just so you know, and my next point, which is the treasury companies that are now coming online. Nakamoto just got merged and all of that stuff. So the problem is that over this summer period, during a time of predictable low volume, low volatility on an asset like this, the crybabies have basically convinced people at the beginning of summer that, number one, it was a good idea to convert your one Bitcoin into, a treasury company, or however many Bitcoin, into a treasury company with a 7 times multiple on its underlying assets. So what people did was they handed over one Bitcoin and got back a representation of a company that basically was reflecting 0.14 Bitcoin. Right? And then what they did as this crybaby season happened is that they convinced people that as that MNAV, right, the multiple compressed from 7 to 2 because we got a period of low volatility and low volume, that it was a good idea to dump out of that whichever first trade they made and then get into another one, which then also compressed. So they basically, unfortunately, it is what it is, and I hate to say it, but if you've got a generational curse of being poor and you don't know how to break those habits and you don't take the lessons and the learnings and get around the people that are actively breaking them. I don't profess to be someone that, is generationally, multi-hundred millionaire, but I'm absolutely working every single day to make sure that I don't succumb to the habits again, right? I have to do that for myself, for my family, for everyone else, and that's the same thing that Bitcoiners are gonna have to learn how to do. Otherwise, you're gonna end up back in the cycle of poverty. It's as simple as that. And by the way, that's where most people are gonna end up. I hate to admit it, but that's where most people are gonna end up. Bitcoin is not gonna save you from yourself. You have to save yourself. If you allow Bitcoin to teach you how scarcity works and allow scarcity to actually teach you and adjust your habits, then it will. Otherwise, either you got it or you're gonna lose it. It's as simple as that, right? I know I can predict that many people are gonna lose their Bitcoin unless they're around people that hold them to task. I have a group of people around me that hold me to task. Every time I wanna make a stupid decision, you communicate with people and they tell you you're a moron, right? Or they tell you it might be a good idea. I know that my decisions that I want to make might be a good idea when I don't get called immediately a moron. Like that's basically my metric because that's how honest my group of people is. So you got to get around people like that. Otherwise, you're going to be around people that are going to keep making the same habits, the same mistakes, whatever. How many people do you know, and I know, that have been trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do whatever forever, and they're basically in the same spot that they're in, right? And that you got to get away from. You got to be with a community, with a group of people that are making the right decisions every single day, and that's super important. But despite that, the liquidity cycle is about to start unfolding. We're about to see lower rates. We're about to see higher liquidity in the debt markets. The Treasury just did the biggest buyback that they've ever done in history. Liquidity is coming. I want the burden of liquidity to be put onto the president and onto the Treasury Secretary for the midterms next year, and I want them to overdo it. And I think they are going to overdo it, and that's going to be great. But the saddest reality of this whole thing is that Bitcoin is now pricing out people at a record pace. My message of get to one Bitcoin is very, very important. And the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is, as I'm talking to the people that I have always said that I'm talking to, people like my parents who have done the right thing, built a property portfolio, taken 35 years to contribute, and now are basically being printed out of their assets, and then even also decision made out of their assets, right? Look at the UK right now. Utter shit show of property prices, utter shit show of safety. No one wants to go there. Knightsbridge, Mayfair, all of the key places are being dumped out of. And what do? They can't just pick up their property and move. Well, they can with Bitcoin, right? So those are the people that I've been always speaking to. But the beauty is that all of these messages, everyone can view. And so I've had people that, had no shot of getting to one Bitcoin, get to one Bitcoin. And I think that is the most important message. But the sad reality is this. I don't know many people who've got £5 million, $5 million, $6 million, $7 million of real estate that can all of a sudden learn about something new and, unless they go absolute balls to the wall, get to one Bitcoin right now because they don't have the liquidity to dump 111, 120, whatever, $1,000 into something that they learned about yesterday. It takes immense courage, immense strength, and an immense, mindset to get to this point right now. And we're about to get to the next level of this where I think we're going to start pricing out people with an $8 to $12 million net worth. And I think it's going to be quite scary for a lot of people, right? And remember, we're now getting into those upper ranks of millionaires that we're pricing out. This is not just about being a millionaire anymore. There might be 60 million millionaires in the world. The lower ranked ones can't buy one Bitcoin. That's how important this message is and why I want you to subscribe to the channel, because ultimately there's always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.